Meanwhile, his latest $453 million judgment against the former president means that in just the span of a few weeks, Donald Trump has already accrued more than $500 million in legal penalties. Late last month, the jury ordered the former president to pay more than $83 million to the writer E. Jean Carroll in her second sexual assault and defamation case against him. A different jury, in a separate trial last year, also awarded her an additional $5 million. And yet this is really only the beginning of Trump's legal troubles. In less than a month, the first of his criminal trials will begin, which could result in more fines or other forms of punishment. Joining me now is Catherine Christian, a former assistant district attorney in Manhattan and an MSNBC legal analyst, and Amy Lee Copeland, who is a former federal prosecutor and a former appellate chief at the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of Georgia. Good morning to both of you. Thank you for being with us. Catherine, let's lay out the Donald Trump timeline. Over the next 30 days, what does he have to do? What does securing the money look like for this fine? What happens if he has trouble coming up with the money, and how can he raise it?
Well, he has assets. We don't know if he has actually liquid assets, but he has a lot of properties other than the ones that will be under the monitorship that this court ordered. There will be an independent monitor. So he will come up with the bond for this, as he has to for the $83 million and the $5 million that he owes Jean Carroll, assuming that that case is not reversed on appeal. The same here. So he will find a way to come up with that. But this is a devastating blow. This is a family business that will now be under an independent monitor and an independent director of compliance. Most businesses that are successful have compliance directors. This one didn't. Now it will. So it will be appealed. I think the way the judge wrote this decision, very thorough, detailed, went through all the witnesses, explained why he didn't credit the experts, means it probably will not be reversed. It's a long appellate process in New York. It'll be 5 to 1 year before, 5 months to 1 year before it gets to the appellate division. And then he can appeal again if he loses there to the Court of Appeals. So this could take about 2 years before we actually have the final decision.
Amy Lee Copeland, Donald Trump's view of the thing is diametrically opposed to what Catherine Christian just said. She thinks the whole thing was rigged. The judge was against him. The attorney general is in office specifically to prosecute him. If this had happened anywhere other than New York, it wouldn't have happened. What's your take on the way Donald Trump is playing this judgment against him?
Well, good morning, Allie. I think the most telling line of the 93-page opinion issued by the judge is that his lack of contrition and remorse borders on the pathological. I think that's a pretty accurate statement, given what we've seen in the trial and the amount of evidence against him. You know, if he doesn't muster up this cash to post an appeal bond, my understanding, and my colleague can correct me, is that the sheriff could immediately start executing on his assets. It could start collecting the judgment right now. So he's really incentivized to do that. But again, we run into issues of his overinflation of properties, which appears to be a chronic problem, as the judgment talks about.
Catherine, let me ask you about Donald Trump started fundraising last night. He fundraises off of everything. If it's a cloudy day, he somehow figures out a way to blame Democrats and fundraise off of it. Can he fundraise to pay the penalty, or does he have to fund? I know he's been fundraising for his legal fees for a long time.
I don't believe so, because the attorney general, the court, and the independent monitor are going to be the ones to decide how this business will be run and how, you know, this money, the $355 million and the $100 million in interest, have to be paid back. So I can't see them saying, oh, it's okay that this PAC is paying for it. But we'll see. That has been undecided.
When the summary judgment, Amy Lee, came out in September, I remember talking to David Jolly, the former Republican congressman, who made the point that while the other cases involve Donald Trump's actual liberty, he could go to jail for them, this one may matter more because it's so central to his myth, the myth that he used to convince so many people in America who support him and supported him in the election that he is this super successful self-made guy. This punctures that myth. In that at least some of his success has to be attributed to illegal business practices and or fraud.
That is, it seems to hit him right where he lives, which is in the wallet alley. You have seen through the years a kind of carefully cultivated image of him with success between The Art of the Deal, the commercials he was in on the 80s, showcasing his wealth, his role even in Home Alone and other movies. So it's not just something that he has started now. It is an image that he has embraced for the last 40 years. He kind of embraces himself as a self-made man, but I understand that he started with $1 million from his father in a construction company. So I can't even imagine, from what I've read about him, the blow that this would be to him. Again, he is a man whose lack of remorse and lack of contrition borders on the pathological, according to the judge. And we keep seeing this again and again. I think it's also got to hurt him, too, that both of his sons got tagged with a $4 million judgment in this case, and they're barred, too, from running the organization for a period of a couple of years.
Catherine, let me ask you about what else can happen. You've described the appeal process, 5 months to a year, and that there might be a further appeal to this. But it was reported in 2022 that Letitia James may also have referred elements of this case to both federal authorities and the IRS separately. I don't know if you know anything about that, but what's the potential culpability that is beyond this trial? Is there some for Donald Trump?
If the federal now the federal government, the Southern District of New York, sort of passed on this publicly, but that doesn't mean they can't, as long as it's within the statute of limitations, take another look. And clearly, the federal government, the Internal Revenue Services, they sort of never stop looking at you. So yes, the AG's office referred it to other authorities, and it could be possible that each of the defendants, not just Donald Trump, his sons, Weissenberg, could be in legal jeopardy, even criminal jeopardy.
If it makes you feel any better, I have already put evac on alert. He's ready to go if it comes to that. General, I can assure you.
Hey, General, let me into the war room to see you, so I had to hack my way onto this frequency.
This better be critical, Willie.
Sir, come on, when is it not, please? Okay, couple of things. I'm running low on the dough. I was thinking about taking a couple of months sick leave, maybe starting today. And, oh yeah, I intercepted a transmission from Megatron.
Then send it through.
Yes, sir, right away, sir. And so I was so dang weird, caught on the other stuff.
This is your last warning, insects. Relinquish what remains of the Allspark.
So who's the insect? You? What? Who's the insect?
Protect you. They were defeated on our world, and we will defeat them here.
This was just a diversion. Security, please bring up. Rabbit, she's already inside. Deeds! Give me an update on that reserve. Boss readiness. What was his name? What was it?
Evac, sir.
Evac.
She's right in front.
We're facing a heavy sustained attack. They appear to be after the Allspark. General, watch out! General! Need this immediately. Hold on. National security advisory. Stay down. Check it out. The business operations. The amateurs on a suicide mission.